As a kid, I feel like I was extremely optimistic. I almost felt a little too confident going into adulthood about overcoming anything because to that point, I had done just that, and with confidence and a smile on my face. Everything was going great for a long time. I was in a relationship that was very complex, became abusive, and I didn't know where to turn to. I didn't want to talk to people about it because I was very hopeful it would get better and I could just move on and forget about it. But things did not get better, and I found myself in a really dark place. I felt like I had lost this bright hope within me, and I was so scared about where I was going. I felt very alone because I didn't want to let anybody know the struggles that I was having. I had all of these aspirations of having a family one day and being a mother, having a career, and I slowly felt all of these hopes falling away from me. I felt so isolated. I wanted things to get better. I thought that everything was my fault at the time. And then as I sought help from counselors and very, very close friends, I felt a sliver of hope that I could overcome the heaviness, the burden that I felt like I was carrying, and that I actually didn't have to do it alone. Being able to recognize the ability that every single one of us has to climb out of those dark holes is something that I can always tie that back to where I came from, my grandmother, Eileen. During World War II, my grandmother lived in Hawaii and she was in elementary school at the time with her siblings and her parents, and they lived on an island just outside of Oahu on Molokai. They dropped all of their Japanese customs because they were so excited to be living in a new state of the United States of America at the time. Whenever they heard the planes going overhead, they got really curious, like, what is this going on? They were really loud planes and then they heard the bombs. This was really startling, as you could imagine, to hear a war so close to your home. They were so afraid. They went into hiding. All operations on the island stopped for months because they were afraid of Americans potentially finding them and putting them in internment camps. They were afraid of Japanese finding them and thinking that they were traitors for living on enemy soil. They stopped speaking Japanese, they stopped making Japanese food. And so there was kind of a block in this transfer of culture and customs and traditions from my grandmother to my mother and to me. After Pearl Harbor was bombed, they weren't sure if there were going to be more bombings, if they were going to be land invasions. They had no idea what was coming. So the unknown, I think, was the scariest thing. And I think that actually relates a lot to us now. So many people in my generation experience so much anxiety from the unknown. It wasn't until I was older, it became really real that I was a descendant of somebody that endured something so challenging. And the reality is, all of us are descendants from immigrants, pioneers before us, and have blazed a path for us to even exist here. Learning about family history has allowed me to feel a much greater purpose in not only who I am, but about what I can accomplish as a person. The hardships don't scare me anymore. They inspire me, they encourage me, and I know that they're gonna be there. I pull from the strength of not only the things that I have overcome, but the strength of the things that my ancestors have overcome. How it must have felt for my grandmother to have lost parts of her identity as a Japanese woman living in Hawaii during World War II and the challenge that that was. But knowing that she was able to bloom where she was planted and find herself again and bring back tradition into her life gave me so much hope and a direction for me to look towards, that I could do the same, that I could find those parts of me again that I loved. Family Search has been an incredible tool in my process of getting back up off of my rock bottom and allowing me to keep putting one foot in front of the other. What was your favorite part?
Everything.
I love that.